morning. For once, I'm doing a video in the morning time instead of the evening, and today we decided to go out and look at an old family cemetery. This is the Collins Cemetery. It's located outside of Fairview, and figured take a look at it and see what's all out here. I used to take care of the cemetery, but I moved away and I haven't been able to take care of it, so it's in bad shape right now. But um, my family came over here a long time ago. I think probably around the early 1800s, and there's a big farm here, and I'll show some things at the end of the video. I have the old deed for this property and the last will and testament of Hugh Collins, and I think he died in 1849. And here's all his family and all the neighbors, and all the neighbors, they were all kind of interrelated and stuff out here back in the day in a small farming community. And it's a pretty neat place. So we'll show you some of the ruins here. There used to be a church here, and then there's the main Collins family plot, and then all the other little buildings all around here, or not buildings, but tombstones. So we'll take a walk here and see what we find. So we're gonna start walking around here. I'll walk back this way here first. This is the main part of the cemetery. It's out in the middle of the woods, and this is a Collins family plot here. You can see there's a stone wall around the family plot. And this here was Hugh and Susan Collins. I think that was the son of Hugh Collins. I'm not really sure. I don't have the history in front of me, the family history. But you can see there's several people buried in the plot here. Here's two unmarked stones. And I think that was Hugh, the one that I have the deed for, and the last will and testament. And down here, there's some stones too. This is the McCafferty stones, Charles and Ellen McCafferty. This one here, Charles McCafferty, died September 1857, 94 years old. I think he had a blacksmith shop in Fairview Borough. There's his wife Ellen. She died 1878. Down here, this is two Sweeney family members. It's not husband and wife. The one on the right, the cross stone, it's broke. That's Timothy Sweeney. I think he died in 1876, it looks like. Look closer here and see. It's like 1876, January. This is Mary, wife of Frank Sweeney, died 1881. There's a lot of these unmarked stones out here. There's 2 acres here for the cemetery. And when you walk around, you see little stones sticking up and a little indentation. It's a burial area. And they used to bring people here in the country to bury them back in the day because I guess it was a cheaper way than burying them in the city. And my great-grandfather, apparently back in, I think it was around 1918 during the flu epidemic, they got I guess they found 2 unidentified bodies in Pittsburgh. And somehow they ended up here, and he was charged to bury them. But he wasn't happy with how much he got paid, so he buried them both in the same hole he dug. He only got $1 back then to dig the grave.
Not bad.
This is the McNamara family. They're all related to Collins as well. And Matthew and Catherine. I'm thinking, back when I first cleaned up the cemetery, this side thing here was off the stone, and I'm thinking that maybe at one time, this is just me creatively thinking, but I think maybe they might have hid moonshine in there. But I found the plaque that was missing and tried to put it back on, but it could have also been damaged by someone. Over here was the location of the old church, and I think it burnt down. I did, when I cleaned up the cemetery a few years ago, I just kind of poked around a little bit in the dirt, and I could tell that there was ashes and broken glass and nails. And I tried to preserve the foundation. You can almost see it there. It was about the size of like an average one-room schoolhouse. After this church shut down, a lot of people went down to St. James in Petroleum. Here's a stone here. It fell over. I used to have it standing upright, but this was James Collins. I think it was a brother of Hugh that had the bigger stone down there. This is another Collins stone here. I think it was an infant. I can't really read what it says on it though. Here's a Collins, but I can't read what it says. These two stones here, this is the O'Brien family. Anthony and Sarah died in 1880. That stone there used to be standing up too. It fell over as well. And back behind all these stones, here beside the church, this is a large potter's field, unmarked stones for graves. I used to mow all this with a push mower. I have my work cut out for me someday when I come back and get it cleaned up again, but it's pretty neat. It looks like they're getting ready to log around the cemetery out here. A lot of people don't think anyone owns the cemetery, but there is 2 acres here. Hopefully they stay out of the cemetery. There's a nice little pathway back here too. I think it might have been the original. It's probably just like how people always came in here, but up to the main road. Yep. That's the Collins family cemetery. This here's another cemetery in the area. This is the Fairview St. Peter's Cemetery. It's associated with the church on top of the hill. You can almost see it up the hill there. I'll show a little bit of the area around here. But as you can see, the cemetery is pretty well overgrown. I used to take care of it, and I need to come back too and take care of it as well again. But it's still not in all that bad shape. Everything's still intact here. And a lot of some of the original people that settled the area, Fairview and Petroleum, are buried here. The Hawk family and the Dobbinspec family and Ellenberger are the 3 biggest families. In the very back of the cemetery too, I got some pictures of the Kraus family. They were, I think they were actually members of the Presbyterian church down the road. I'm not sure they're buried here, but they were German immigrants, and they settled in, I think, Buena Vista. It's a little town outside of Fairview. But I'll show you around the cemetery here in a little bit. I think this stone here is the oldest stone. I think it's 1839. It was a Dr. Hilliard, or it was a Hilliard of some sort, I think. Yeah, I think it says John Hilliard. Over here, this is the Hawk family that had all the Hawk stores in Petroleum. There's William Hawk and Elizabeth. They're the ones that donated this land for the cemetery. They died in the 1840s as well. I think these stones here, I think this is a Hepler family, so I'm not sure, I think they had something to do in Petroleum, but I think there was a Hepler meat store at one time. I think I was wrong earlier. Here's Jacob and Susanna Hawk. I think they're the ones that donated the land here, but one of the family members did. This is all the Dobbin specs up here. John and Elizabeth Dobbin spec. This is a whole family here. This down here is pretty clear to read. Adeline died 1859. There's more than there too. Lydia, Elisha. It's kind of interesting here. Here's Abraham and Isabella Dobbin spec. And the stone behind here is actually Elizabeth's original stone. And then when he died, they got a bigger stone. And the old stone's still there. There's another Hawk family stone here. That's a stone for the Bice family. They used to live in a previous video. I talked about the Maxwell family. They lived next door to them. And there's an old house down on Chestnut Street in Fairview. And I think after it was a Bice house, and I think at one point the Dobbin specs moved into the house after they left. But I don't have a picture of that house. I don't know what it looked like. But I was told by my grandma it was a big old house. There's another little view there. And as you can see, right in the woods there, that was the old town dump. And the brick house there is where Senator Hayes' mansion used to stand. And where the yellow house here was the big old hotel. And the one photo I showed before, the old oil boom hotel. They're doing stuff up in the hill there too. There's all types of coal mines back here. We're now here at the Knox family cemetery. This is outside of Parker and Bruin. And I'll take some pictures of it. Someone cleaned it up really nice. And it's all probably one of the nicest little family cemeteries around the area. It's all mowed and kept up. But the Knox family, they had a farm out here. The old, I think it was like an old mill house still standing, and the old house, the farmhouse collapsed. But this is the Knox family back in the, I think, 1930s or 40s in Bruin. They had the Knox funeral home. They were in the oil boom stuff back in the day, and had farmers out here too. So I'll take some pictures here and show you around the cemetery.
So what was this? Just a little...
It's just a little family cemetery. I can't see what that says.
It says Knox.
It's
Pearl Knox.
Well, it's someone. It's the.
Born March
I don't know.
25th, 1845.
Here's a lot of 1892. There's a Houston Knox died December 20th, 1865. Anthony, 1871. Over here is the Moore family. They must have been related. Elizabeth, 1880. Here's John Lewis Moore. Died 1900. And Ernest Gibson Moore. Died 1919. It's a really well kept cemetery. You can see really far out there. It's neat. Someone has a little trout on here too to it. Yeah, before when I came up, it looked like that. All the brush.
When was the last time you were here?
Oh, like a year ago.
Somebody cleaned it out.
Yeah. There's a view of the farm field here. It's really neat when you come to these cemeteries. You can see far off. In the middle of the photo there, you can see a white building way far off on there. Out there, that's on Hazenfleet Road out by the old brew and limestone plant. And I think you might be able to see, maybe not, but out that way is Parker and Dutch Hill. And right over the top of the hill there was the old farmhouse, and you can still see there's a couple oil wells out here yet. That's that place, the Knox Cemetery. We're walking up now to the Shaklee Shaklee Cemetery. There's a White family and the Shaklee family. We're pretty numerous out in this area of, we're in Parker Township, I believe. Or we might be in Armstrong County, actually, I think. But get a look here at the cemetery, it's pretty neat. The cemetery is neat, it has a nice iron fence around it. Here they have a name tag on it, the White Cemetery.
Get in.
Some nice big old stones up here. This one here, David White, died March 31st, 1861, 73 years. William White died 1864. Might have been a Civil War veteran. Charles White, 1877. This fence here is one of the best intact fences I've seen in the area. I like how it has old cypress trees here still. Here's one of the Shakleys there. 1914. Rebecca White, 1917. Elizabeth White, 1906. I must wonder if they were married or if... It looks like I don't see any husbands standing by them. That's David White and Jane were husband and wife there. So these must have been two daughters. I always kind of like this last name. It's kind of different. Salmon. 1865, 36 years. And he wasn't in a war. Tough to look him up and see what he fought in. But that's basically it. It's a pretty small cemetery. I thought I saw a summer one time on the fence where it was made. Has a nice little barnstone base to it as well. They usually printed on these where they were made. Usually in the base, but I don't see anything here. But that cemetery is pretty neat. Oh, the big stone here too, I didn't look at it. This is Daniel Shaklee. He's one of the patriarchs of the Shaklee family in the area. 1841 and 1921. And his wife, 1839, 1912. There's a whole Shaklee cemetery too. And it's all just Shakleys in that one. It's down the road a little bit further, but I think Daniel Shaklee, that was one of the better known family members throughout the family history research and all that. I'd like to know how they got the stones ahoy up here back then. Probably horse and buggy, but these are massive stones. This one here is probably about 5 feet tall. So is that one. They actually kind of look like they're made by the same person. Yeah, they have the same design on them. So there you go. That is the White Shaklee Cemetery.